You see that? Making some changes to the device. Um, like I said, it's got a little slot, connects to everything. Can you see that? So it functions, and I have proof of it functioning already. So, and at this point, just getting rid of all the people that are stopping it. I wanted to make a couple of points here. So, I'm not gonna pull the components apart just because that's kind of what's being relied on here is just keeping the components their own separate idea when we all know that technology is the combined componency of a bunch of isolated objects that function together as a group rather than on their own. But people who don't want to accept this are just acting like, no, that's just what that is, and that's just what that is, and that's just what that is. So they can, so noticing about life and about how we all connect with one another, circuitry and social circuitry, the kind of like what you have to do to make sense enough to get your occurrence, right? And you can imagine that your home, your house, whatever it is a bit like a bunch of circuits, a bunch of wires that are connected to your person that you have to maintain. You have to keep it clean. Cleanliness is a circuit. Eating is a circuit. It just keeps going. You have to keep doing it. The restroom is a circuit. Showering. What else is there? Maintaining, going out and doing whatever it takes to maintain it. Whatever all that is. All circuitry, right? So there comes a point in circuitry where there's this accusation that all circuits need to be the same. And while they're your basic circuits that are always going to be the same, those occur naturally. They're natural circuits. You don't need to know what those are. They're already within you. You're already going to shit. You're already going to need to eat. You don't need to learn anything for those. Beyond that, all you're doing is taking the space that you have to do anything and creating a circuit that has the idea, enough of it to allow constants, and is connected enough and stable enough in its own theory to keep functioning regardless of whether it's agreed with or not. And here's the thing. There are guys that have gotten enough people to agree with their form of circuitry that they claim it's the only kind of circuitry that there is. But we know it's wrong because we can say that all technology is the combination of individual components into a working system. Now, what these guys do is stuff like this. Drill here to prevent me from being able to say it. But the goal here is to have your circuitry work and everyone else's not, so that you can have your occurrence and they can't. This is a fact. I've studied this, I've stated this several times. That's what your goal is. And so, in the technological race, there is a plan, much like spanning from nothing to something, 2 points doing that in nowhere, which is somewhere now because they're relative, creating two different shapes and then competing, right? At that point of intricacy, I noticed that it's just ethical value. And then I noticed that there's that attempt to add character to your opponent that is somewhat like they're lazy, they don't work, they don't clean, they don't do shit. And before that's ever true, just adding that there and then trying to keep it going to use that as a physiological reason to claim why your occurrence, why your technology works. Now, and all that being said, if the goal here, and as we've observed this, and as I've proven it several times, is to break everyone else's circuitry so that you cannot occur, so that they cannot occur, then it means that within the honest observation of circuitry is an actual lie, the goal of saying that it doesn't work. Now, if you observe anything with the intention of saying that it doesn't work, you're just breaking it. And we're talking about the sensitive circuitry. We're talking about the circuitry that is before you guys start being flesh again because you lost, because you stopped making sense. The idea that it is said to be true, that the way you're thinking is the only way things can work, when the way you're thinking is leading to a civilizational crash. The way that you're thinking is not going anywhere productive. So it is actually untrue that the way you're thinking is the only way things can work. So when you apply your ideas to my effort, when you apply your attempt to snip my circuits to everything that I'm doing, You're flawed because you're being dishonest. You're not letting it occur. You're going in there and you're saying, here's a boundary. Now it has to occur around that. Here's another boundary. Now it has to occur around that. Here's another boundary. Now it has to occur around that. And so it can be stated that it is a fact that without your influence, without your interference, without your attempt to make it so that it doesn't occur and yours does, it would automatically be happening. There would be no issues. But because you reached the dead end, you needed to add boundaries, cutoffs. You needed to cut. You needed to chop this off. Don't go any further than this. I can't do that. Don't go any further than this. Life needs to be fair. I can't do that. It doesn't work unless you do what I'm doing here. Look, I'm working. Yeah, nigga, but you caught us off guard and we know what you're doing. No, I'm just working and you guys aren't because you're not doing what I'm doing. Yep. So, at this point, I know it works. I've seen it work. And your physiological excuses for why it can't just change, they're lies. We all know that it can just change. It just changes all the time. So, all that space there that's supposed to be meant to cut me off from being able to explain it fully. All that space is everybody just choosing for me to not explain it, for me to choose yeah, that is what that is. That's for y'all to make me choose. For y'all to choose the part where I don't get to make it happen. For y'all to choose the outcome where it doesn't occur. And that's all it is right here. That's what this little stopper is. That's what breaks me. That's what makes me have a struggle of explaining. So, all that being said, without that, this works fine. Without that, I occur naturally. Without you getting desperate and cutting me off, I occur naturally. Nothing I want doesn't happen. Yeah. So, that's where we are. And kind of realized why I kept falling earlier, or why things were getting harder. So I thought that maybe somebody was like pushing me down really hard in like physiological effort, but I know what it is now. So as we go down courses and we have to share reality together, as you guys go a different route than where I'm headed, because you all have to do cuts and survive, my route goes on its own, and it takes a moment for it to stabilize and hold itself because you guys were kind of keeping it in place. And so now that you let go, there's like a wobble to it that I've got to catch. And sometimes it's like me falling, but man, the most part, all I have to do there is disconnect from you guys. Because what you do here is you take that turn, and that turn's gonna fuck me up. That turn's gonna make me crash. And then you guys are just gonna say that that's who I am. And so I have to let you go. I have to, you guys just got dumb. I'm still going. I did not experience any problems here. I'm still going. So, that's where we are.